Так сказать, добрый вечер, уважаемые друзья. Сегодня я хотел провести стрим не по танкам, а по одной интересной игре. Игра называется What Remains of Edith Finch. В общем, это игра, коротко, значит, сюжет. Мы играем за главную героиню Эдит, и она выясняет, что же стало с ее семьей, так сказать, с ее фамильным деревом. Как видите, все они умерли, и она осталась единственной представительницей своего рода. Ну и сегодня, так сказать, будем разбираться, что же со всеми ними стало. Сразу скажу, игра проходит часа за 2. Ну, если буду очень тупить, то за 2,5. Ну, поэтому, думаю, сегодня мы начнем и сегодня же закончим. Ну, сейчас предлагаю начать новую игру, потому что я минут 5 прошел. Ну, чисто затестить. Ну и, так сказать, приступим. Так, на корабле мы, значит. Ну-ка, давайте. Интересно. Книга. Привет, мужское жда, я тебя помню. Привет, Виктор.
A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning, with the house.
С самого начала с дома. Вот мы, видимо, возле нашего дома. Интересно.
Someone had put up a chain link fence, but it looked like I wasn't the first person to hop it. My brother Milton disappeared when I was 4. It was like the house just swallowed him up.
Дом его поглотил. Интересно. Так, тут можно вглядываться, как я вижу. Ну, кстати, по уровню графики такая средняя.
I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms.
Жила до 11 лет. Перешел в Блиц на ПК. Поздравляю тебя.
Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately.
7-летней давности. Ничего так.
I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral.
Брат Льюис тоже умер, короче. Но у нее все поумирали в семье. Осталась она только.
In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked. Maybe she thought I'd know. Or she thought that the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
Напишите, что по звуку, все ли хорошо со звуком. Может, игру стоит убавить или еще что-то.
No one had driven this way in a long time, but I saw a few hoof prints.
Отпечатки копыт. Олень.
The truth is, even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it. But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to.
Видите, у Эдит вопросы по поводу семьи. Привет, Григорий.
The house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it.
Так, ну давайте пойдем по лестнице.
As a child, The house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words.
В общем, дом заброшен,
Now,
как мы
as a
все понимаем.
17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house. I hoped the key might unlock the front door. It didn't.
Не подошел ключ. Так, интересно.
Looking in, I felt like the house itself had been waiting for me.
Как же нам войти? Так, там еще какой-то путь был. Альтернативный. Пострим как-нибудь Heavy Rain. Ну, кстати, можно. Вообще я об этой игре слышал, но что-то посмотрю после стрима еще поподробнее о ней. Может быть, тут можно войти?
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11. The power had been turned off the night we left. For the first time in years, I felt like I was home. But instead of a family, there were just memories of one.
Кстати, ничего, такой дом. Заброшенный.
Like how after Lewis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly. Or how only one restaurant would deliver to our house, so we had Chinese a lot.
Какое-то тут все не тронуто.
The table was still a wreck from the night we left. It was like a bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture. My mom was the only one of us who could imagine Great-Grandma Edie living in a nursing home.
Прабабушку отправили в дом престарелых, значит, ага.
Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth. Even the fireplace had a story. Edie told me the bricks came from the original house, after it sank.
Это кто это? Фрицы?
Great-Grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara, along with the rest of the house. Mom always told me to stay out of the basement, so I wasn't too surprised when the key didn't fit. My mom wasn't much of an optimist, but she never stopped believing that my brother Milton was alive. A lot of things got left behind in the whirlwind of that last night.
Что такое? Так, что же это? Пойдемте наверх.
After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes. Whenever people ask me about my family,
Привет, Антон.
the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara. Edie's father Odin built the original house.
Все двери закрыты.
As a kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of.
Это, кстати, как мы видим с вами, каждая комната — это один человек из семьи Эдит. Видимо, по порядку в них нужно будет входить.
The last time I was in Edith Sr.'s room, I was 10 and she was painting my portrait. My Grandpa Sam spent 7 years sharing a room with his dead brother, Calvin.
Так, вот первая открытая комната. Молли. 10 лет было.
Molly always seemed like a girl I could imagine being friends with, if she hadn't died in 1947. I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room. I think my mom sometimes regretted not sealing it up. Lewis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him. Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets.
Ничего
Now it
себе.
was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of.
Ага, теперь мы ребенок, значит.
From the
Интересно.
paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me. Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan. But I had no idea what was behind that door. Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead.
Сохранение, понятно.
I grew up looking at Molly's room through the peephole.
Привет,
Molly's gerbil
Дестилер.
had a tiny bedroom with its own even tinier gerbil cage. Being inside for the first time, I felt like I'd stepped behind a painting.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat.
Ага, интересно. Девочку не
My
покормили.
Halloween candy was all gone. I thought about eating Christopher, but I held back.
Кристофер в шоке, наверное. Что-то я к хомяку не хочу подходить. Сейчас она
The
его
gerbil
заглотит.
food was dry, but I didn't mind it. Mom, can I come out now?
Sweetheart, it's late. Go to sleep.
I ate a lot of things that night.
Ага, это декоративное же, алло.
I kept eating and eating.
Плохо дело.
Then I heard chirping outside my window. It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her.
Ну, так.
And suddenly, I was a cat.
Что?
I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
Тупо женщина-кошка.
Mom and Dad didn't even look at me.
Это что, гнездо? Интересно.
The babies were all gone.
Улетели, грустно. Ягодки были непростые, да. Ну, кошкой стало, что бывает. Так, что куда дальше? Вот птица, пошли.
I jumped and I almost got her. I could tell she was getting really tired. Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird. I gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass. I imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger. A mama rabbit. She was almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
Что? Что за бред, я хз.
I rolled off a cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever. I wanted fat, juicy seals.
Что-то я промахнулся.
Tasted really good. I grabbed on tight. But I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed. Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere.
Что творится?
I was big, but I moved real quiet. I wanted to stop, but also I didn't.
Не показывайте игру вегетарианцам определенно. Так, никуда назад.
After the last passenger, I was still hungry. And across the water, I smelled something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it. I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
Ну, хз, какая-то странная игра, пока что очень странная. Что?
I got closer and closer.
Точно, Григорий. Не поспоришь. С какую-то сову играем, фиг пойми. Тут вообще какой-то питон вон ползает.
All my stomach started growling. And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
Ага. Так, и чё? И типа, я чё, чудище убил какое-то или чё?
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
Видать, да?
I got the sense Edie had spent a lot of time here before my mom sealed the doors.
Странно.
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly. I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room. We got along, and it was a good place to hide from my mom. When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't. Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious.
Чё, человек крот, алё? Что творится?
Louis died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him. Her room was like a museum. For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune.
А, вот мы в его комнате. Сейчас надо, так сказать, в воспоминания пройти. Секунду, спокойно.
Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind. But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea. Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
Ага, понятно.
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
В общем, со всей этой семьей какой-то бред постоянно происходил. Ладно, пошли дальше. Дальше нельзя.
Edie knit me a new pair of gloves every year, just in time to replace the old ones. even in her 90s. Sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother. The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife, Kay, left on the house was the pink bathroom. It was a pretty big trace. There's a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
Нормально.
Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
Так мы еще в одну комнату попали.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin, and that he never talked about him. I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it. My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom, and he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again, and he wasn't.
Сто обещаний сдержал,
I think
да.
Calvin always wanted to fly.
Может, сейчас не упадем с качели, я надеюсь. Хотя...
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible.
Чё, кто в
Maybe
детстве
if I
так
hadn't
пробовал?
said that. Maybe if the wind hadn't picked up, then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother.
Что? Сейчас
The day he
смотаем.
made up his mind to
Ясно.
fly. And he did.
Ну, полетел, чё. И все, видать, помер.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
Зато раньше Гагарина взлетел.
After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room. Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
что тут ходы потайные?
The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies. Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star.
Назад. Такой импозантный мужчина. Угу.
I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards. Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up, a has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue.
Привет, Мидас. Норм игра, но частями очень странно.
And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent. She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
Сейчас будем всех это... Какой-нибудь розыгрыш пойдет, еще что-то.
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
The old fridge rattled and grew stale.
Где ее?
Oh.
Rick?
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and you're...
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
Пойдем опять. С костылем хотя бы. Наверх, наверное. Сейчас убьет кого-нибудь случайно костылем.
Walter had vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing. He couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
That night, she played her part beautifully.
Топ-контент определенно.
She thought about abandoning Walter, but just couldn't do it.
Ну и шо, где Уолтер-то, аля? Секунду.
Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges grow. He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet.
Сейчас мы его. И где он?
Had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was...
Поменяй игру в настройках, когда у тебя танки стоят. Ты имеешь в виду то, что донатилка или что? Так, все, я поменял уже.
She heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Все, ГГ.
Oh dear.
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. she had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter, hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box was all they ever found of her. Her ear. Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Снизу стрима типа показывает, что танк стримишь, включая эту игру. Но это уже сейчас, наверное, не буду менять. Но вообще надо бы.
As absurd as that comic was, maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
Так, что-то еще есть тут? Вроде нет. Пойдем. Все, нам назад.
I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box. Mom must have locked the third floor stairs on the night we left. It's funny. All those times I played with the music box and never found the basement key.
Так, ну везде тут мы были. Поменяй, можно стрим не останавливать. Ну ладно, сейчас. Готово. Так, ну тут мы тоже уже были. Поэтому нам вниз.
Edie told me once that every Finch who ever lived is buried somewhere in the library. I wonder if that comic was right about there being a key inside the music box near the basement.
Так, музыкальная шкатулка у входа в подвал. Сейчас глянем. Надо найти вход в подвал сначала. Вот шкатулка. Нормально. Вот и подвал.
Mom said the basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot.
Вот с этой штукой, так сказать, связана травма одна.
I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages. I thought maybe she was hiding presents.
Я думаю, что она прятала там траву.
It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that.
Открывалось нечто большее. Сейчас там, короче, склад с оружием и героин.
I I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could.
Нормально. Еды.
If there's a pattern in all
Я
these
б тут жил.
stories, I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
Уолтер. Он, кстати, пожил, сойдет еще так неплохо.
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years. On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week.
68-й. Так, как этой штукой пользоваться?
But after a few days, I settled into a routine.
А. Сложно?
That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, living for today. I always expected to be dead tomorrow.
Опять открывать не хочу.
But if you wait long enough, you get used to anything.
А.
Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal. Almost friendly.
Давай еще персиков дерябнем.
And then one day, everything just stopped. Whatever that thing was, it was gone. Maybe it got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid.
В 2005. Там был 68-й. В общем, он всю жизнь сидел в подвале и жевал персики.
It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years. I'm done waiting. I have to leave while I still can. I know it's out there somewhere. Whatever killed Barbara and Molly and Calvin. Maybe this is all a mistake. But I need to stop living the same day, even if it kills me. Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it. I'm going to appreciate all of it, especially the food. I don't mind if I only have a year left. month or a single week. I'd be happy with one new day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
Ясно. Как это тупо, конечно.
Walter died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here.
На, дедуля, даешь.
I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me. Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter.
Закончу вообще-то.
But if she never told me about an uncle under the house, I can only imagine what else she was hiding. I don't want to make the same mistakes she made. Trying to bury something that's still alive. Now that there's only one of us left, or maybe 2, I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself and found out what happened to everyone else. But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real. I don't know if I should even be writing this. Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me. But I thought you should know about your family.
Что это он зажегся?
And the history you're a part of. Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now. I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth.
Показываю, что. А тут ничего.
And when you look at the house, that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness, any of it seems possible. I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it. What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house? It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one. 3 of the gerbils are mine, and 2 had been my fault.
Нормально. Это же животное, да, я надеюсь? Вроде как. Да.
Sven built the house, but it was Edie who designed the cemetery.
А вот это уже не животное. Да.
I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away. She could see it poking out of the water at low tide. Edie said she dreamed about the old house every night.
Так, куда дальше, не понял. Секундочку. Видимо, надо как-то спускаться
Edie's
сейчас.
side was always easier for me to understand. But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from.
Тут
Her
они
dad
все,
had been
короче,
pretty strict, but
похоронены.
it wasn't enough to save her brothers. She was just trying to do better. She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did. I get why she tried so hard to protect us. There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself. But looking back on it now,
Не спрашивайте, зачем я назад посмотрел.
if she told me there was going to be so much climbing, I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
Так, как залезть сюда? Ну вот.
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common. They were both pretty intense.
Мишаня. Такой импозантный.
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime.
Hmm? Am I gonna have to shoot anything?
It's a hunting trip, Dawn. Shooting is strongly encouraged.
Shouldn't we be leaving?
Just want to get a shot of you, Dawn, then we can take off.
I'm over here, Dad.
И чё надо? Общий фокус поймать или чё?
Just need to get a shot of you, Dawn, then we can hit the road.
А,
What?
что-то это. Тупанул
Perfect.
чуток.
It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it? never forget this weekend, Dad.
That's okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. That camera's older than you are.
Птица.
Aw. You're right, Dad. It's starting to clear up. Still freezing, though.
Definitely should not have drunk all that coffee.
Hmm.
Hey!
That's a keeper. Hold still while I take a picture of you.
I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Don. You'll need to remember this stuff, if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Don, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years. Last time I was with my brother Calvin. Man, that was a great trip. Don, don't you think you could find something more interesting to photograph?
Было бы что-то поинтереснее.
Your grandpa's Fen taught us how to fish, how to build a fire. We found an old logging trail. There were deer everywhere. I bet if I could remember where that trail was, we'd spot a buck for you in no time. Give me a minute to check the map. Let's see.
Что надо сфоткать-то, алё?
Was it? Could have been.
Что от меня игра хочет, боже? Я уже все тут поперефоткал.
You don't need to waste any more film on me, kiddo.
А, это что стоит-то? Мужик. Помогите. Дядь, что тебе надо? Я же все тут сфоткал. И чё? Помогите. Так, это что? Ребят, мне сложно. Что от меня игра хочет? Может, какой-нибудь горизонт надо сфоткать, не? Короче, сейчас я посмотрю в интернете. Слишком сложно. Но я предупреждал, что тупить буду. Вообще надо винтовку сфоткать, или? Боже, надо вот это было сфоткать. Глазастый, да. Ай, стоящего на горе оленя.
Dad, I...
Just breathe. Turn off your imagination. Focus on your...
Я же сказал, тупить буду. Sorry.
Do I have to do this?
Dawn, you don't have to do anything.
Nah.
Great shot, Dawn.
Странно, зачем он ее заставлял оленя убивать? Селфи.
I'm proud of you, Dawn. Always remember that, okay?
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally normal, Dawn. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about...
Dad!
Тупо отомстил. Чудесно.
Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had told me.
Такие тупые смерти у всех, это жесть.
Sam spent his life shooting photos, but Mom said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something.
Кстати, мы вроде уже 80% игры прошли.
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it. I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
И что надо делать? Ничего.
Hand over, Gregory. It's time to... Hold on, sweetie. Hello?
Ага, значит, лягушка только при нем прыгает. Нормально.
Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
I wonder what he saw. What his world was like.
Ща утки его загрызут, проверяй.
He reminded me so much of Calvin. Lost in his imagination.
Может, надо букву сбить?
I know how silly it sounds. But I worried about a baby being too happy.
Самый годный урей.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
В смысле, если бы я не позвонил в тот вечер?
Hold on, I don't want Gregory to hear this.
I wish he could have told us.
Что? Ну, он же не утонет сейчас. На, лицо.
There's so much I don't understand. About Gregory. About everything.
К воздуху плывем. Нет, нельзя. Ладно.
But I know what happened wasn't your fault.
Надо открыть, надо открыть срочно. Ясно.
You want you, be happy to. Good luck, Kay.
Он утонул в ванной. Тупо лягушки убили сутками. Грани паук убила, а этого лягушка. Печально.
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet...
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea.
А Гаст умен не по годам.
Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard.
Тупо этот мистер Шмидт в 43-м. Так, читать бы еще надо. А, сейчас надо, короче, буковки. Я понял, слушайте, интересно,
My father
да.
made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart. I tried to talk him out of it,
Так,
but
секунду.
though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom, were the words that I
now
remember.
pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
Это, видимо, свадьба была или что это? Ну, вроде не поминки, наверное, свадьба. Ух ты. Я испугался.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined and as a sign held up his middle finger.
Неприличный такой молодой человек.
The wind picked up and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent. The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder."
Спорим, его сейчас молния ударит.
I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea and foam. But I didn't. Until we found you.
She never told
Что-то
me
Гус
about
тоже
this.
немножко
Mom
это
told me once if I was a boy,
утонул
they were going
чуток.
to name me Gus.
Так, осталось непосредственно 3 члена, так сказать, семьи. Члена семьи, да.
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get.
То есть она каждый день вот так вот карабкалась, да? Нормально. Прикинь, короче, в 3 часа ночи решил, так сказать, ну вы поняли. И в темноте такой назад. Нормально. Ладно, продолжим. Компудахтер.
She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad,
Привет, Никита.
Sanjay. Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died. My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Lewis was born a year later. When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back. And to see kids in the house again.
Сколько стрим идет? Ну, где-то час 20.
The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that.
Ну, мы проходим сейчас сюжетную игру, она всего часа на 2. Так что уже скоро, наверное, будем заканчивать.
And for a while, things were good. Almost normal. But it didn't last. The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle. After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
В общем, он пропал. Не успеваю читать, ну, бывает.
I think Edie was happy to finally have another painter in the family.
Ничего, такой художник.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Так, секунду. Нормально. Тупо вышел. Не, хитер.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
Вот куда он исчез. Четкая игра, таких побольше. Ну, в принципе, да, неплохая. Хорошо сделано, очень приятно играть. Правда, не смотрит никто особо, ну, что поделать. Танки, видать, людям интереснее.
Then she sealed the doors.
Так, через окно
Whatever
выходим.
Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
А, назад идти. Последний человек остался, да. Ну, кстати, довольно быстро мы прошли. Так, а мы туда ли идем-то? Наверное, да. Вот забавно, если мы сейчас не туда идем. Что-то я не понял немножко, мы туда идем или нет? Что думаете? Может, я пропустил что-то? Видимо, да. Черт. Так, ладно, сейчас, секунду. Да, видать, пропустил. Вот тебе и последний чел. Ладно, пошли назад. Так, стоять, 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 стоять. Давайте-ка тут еще глянем разок.
Instead of hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it.
Что-то не то. Сейчас быстренько назад дойдем. Не, про Сэма это, видимо, я пропустил одну реплику, так что... Ну, сейчас разок еще глянем, что тут пропустил, наверное, что-то. Хотя игра линейная, поэтому, в принципе, если я шел, то, наверное, так и надо. Давайте глянем, может, вниз можно? Нельзя. Так, нам в окошко. Нет, тут ничего нету, слушайте. В чем смысл? Просто история, да. Короче, мы играем за девушку Эдит. И она осталась последняя в своем роде. И, так сказать, она выясняет, что же стало со всеми ее родственниками, начиная с самых дальних. Ну и вот остался последний человек. как мы все видим, тут ничего больше нет, так что, видимо, я правильно шел все это время. Зря решил вернуться. Пошли вниз. Что-то потерялся в линейной игре. Ну-ка, тут что? Тут тоже пусто. Знаете, что можно было наверх пойти?
Mom definitely
Вот.
blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself.
Ну все, сейчас мы Льюиса найдем.
After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
А, консервный завод, короче, откуда он таскал рыбу постоянно. Я таким образом Крайзис не прошел раза 3, так и не смог, бывает. Я с первого раза, помню, первый Крайзис прошел. Ничего себе, кальян, ой-ой-ой.
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Интересный молодой человек, слушайте. Я бы тут остался, так сказать, задержался ненадолго. Стой, назад, назад.
Lewis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse.
В общем, у Льюиса
Newly
была,
sober,
видимо,
I
наркотическая
believe Lewis
зависимость.
first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior.
Рыбку коцал каждый день.
His mind began to wander. I asked him to describe it. He said he started small. Imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about.
Так, назад.
Then something moved. Bats. And toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more.
Ой, сложно,
I
слушайте.
worried about him then.
В 2 игры сразу играть.
Daydreaming at the cannery.
Ну давай рыбу.
I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Louis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians.
Что?
And songs for them to play.
Свой мир придумал,
About
чё?
starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination, so he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor, and he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Louis kept sailing on. In Louisburg, he heard rumors of a beautiful prince. The prince was on his own quest for...
Да, он на разделывании рыбы придумал целый мир, да. Так, давайте направо теперь. Там было лево, сейчас справа.
He followed the sound of his...
Давайте за арфой пойдем.
silver harp.
А, ну ты пропустил.
His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him. that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace.
В общем, по всей видимости, он больше стал уделять внимание своим каким-то мечтам и воображению.
It was hard to argue with him. He began to forget the world we know.
А вот его реальность.
I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker.
Интересно, как же он жизнь свою закончит.
He began to despise the man with a royal contempt. I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions. Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on inviting him. His prince waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head.
Плохая затея. Что-то я по виду вижу, что не очень затея. Ох, не очень. Ох, не очень.
And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
Под нож залез. Ну вот, все,
My
последний.
brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
И что же сейчас? Понятно.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie.
В общем, после его смерти они
I'm not
решили
sure if she
уехать.
wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left.
Видимо, это ее комната.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind. What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner.
И к чему же все шло?
But it had to end one way or another.
Заканчивать.
All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
Последний вечер.
last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
Это последний наш вечер.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house.
Видимо, мать боялась за нашу главную героиню, что она также плохо закончит свою жизнь. По всей видимости.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Это, короче, история, которую бабушка ей подарила, видимо, с ее смертью.
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out.
А вот это место.
It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. For a while, I wandered.
Привет, еще раз.
I started seeing things.
Кстати, уже самый конец игры.
Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends.
О чем игра? В общем, мы играем за главную героиню. Ну, в данный момент нет, но вообще на протяжении всей игры. И мы остались последние в нашем роду. И наша задача выяснить, что же произошло со всеми нашими родственниками. То есть, как они умерли, при каких обстоятельствах.
Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it, but she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is.
Ща плакать буду, ну, тогда.
This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you. And tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Да. Ой, Мидас всю эту испортил, всю драму. Я подумал об этом, но что-то... Ладно. Сильно-сильно. Та-да. Не, игра в принципе хорошая на самом деле. Вначале какие-то у меня такие подозрения были. Местами она даже туповата, признаться честно. Но вообще очень хорошо сделано, хорошо нарисована, и история тоже интересная. Даже как-то грустно немножко. Ну вот, грубо говоря, за 2 часа прошли всю игру. Ой. Сори, что-то титры пропустил. Ну вот, короче, всю историю рода Финчи мы с вами посмотрели. Говорю, довольно-таки грустно все-таки. Но местами глупо. Вот, на этом, я думаю, на сегодня все. Стрима по танкам сегодня не будет. Я морально его не осилю, наверное. Вот. Большое, так сказать, спасибо всем, кто был на стриме. Правда, было вас сегодня немного, всего 4 человека, ну в пике 5. Но несмотря на это, все равно спасибо вам всем большое, кто пришел, поставил лайк и писал что-то в чате. Следующий стрим, я думаю, будет завтра. Наверное, по танкам. Ну вот, на этом, я думаю, будем прощаться. Еще раз большое вам всем спасибо. Ну все, давайте до завтра.